Hello and welcome to week 5 of fantasy football. There's no Blandy this week. We're back in action. Without the Oracle, without the Rain Man of fantasy football. It's just me and Baz.
Yeah, we'll be making it up as we go along. There'll be no stats, there'll be no insights. Yeah. It'll be off the cuff.
We'll be getting winged, as they call it in the trade.
I think it's called gut feel. Nothing statistically based.
I like playing on the gut feel, though. Me, I don't mind it. Sometimes you get a feeling, you think, I'm just going to play this player. I don't know why.
What's your success rate on your gut feel over the years?
Less than 50-50.
Near 80-20 or 20-80? But I think generally you've just got to play a bit of a balance between stats and watch a few games, what you see, what you like. And I always think try and balance the two a little bit. You know, you've got to pass the eyesight test as well as if someone tells me this player gets 3.5 yards every time they carry it, but the player for someone crap like the Bears, then I'm not really buying it too much.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of it's watching it, isn't it, and then getting a feel.
Yeah, just again, watch a game, see a couple of plays, a couple of snaps that you like. Again, those early, I think we spoke about a few weeks ago, those early downs where the scripted plays, so you know they're the players where the coaches have been working on and want to get players involved, and I think they're good ones to go off those first couple of drives of games.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. The Thursday night's always like one where I get caught out on, because I like to wake up on a Friday and see. Watch the highlights and that. Now it's like a little bit of interest, and sometimes I fall in the trap where I play someone that I probably shouldn't play, just to have someone playing. You know what I mean?
For the interest value.
And I guess that's why I've never won the league really,
or made the playoffs. No, I think the Thursday night games can be tricky as well because you've always got, if the team's coming off that short week.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Just checking we're online. We're live.
Grayson.
What can you hear?
Some backing music. It's probably coming off one of my browsers. There, I've got to knock it off.
Oh, it reminds me we didn't play all backing music today, did we?
Amateur hour.
Fuck's
sake. Stick it on now, why not?
Stick it on now, yeah. We'll wait for some more people to come in to the chat.
Yeah, well, again, we're not normally on time, are we? So that couple of minutes late gives you a chance to... that's what we tell ourselves anyway.
We normally still have tech issues, man.
Yeah, trying to wind the broadband up.
Yeah. There we go. That's entry 20. Right, we've got two viewers. We've got two viewers. Get your questions fired in. Or say hello. Say good evening, boys. First things first, the FFOP League. We've hit a bit of form, Barry. It was inevitable, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a minor blip, wasn't it? That start to the season with a couple of iffy performances, but we're flying now, aren't we?
Yeah, 124 points last week. Abs give us a run for the money, but
tight game. It was a tight game, yeah.
Yeah, took us to 2-2. Our highest score, Geno Smith, by the way. Well, what's going on with that?
Yeah, I think they didn't need him to do much, did they, this week, playing the Giants. They sort of railroaded from the off, 24-3, heavy on the run game. You know, I think unfortunately you have those weeks. That's going to be the downside against playing a weak team sometimes, if they can get the game done and won early, and you don't need your quarterback slinging it around.
Yeah. Yeah, never mind. Pollard as well. Pollard is a bit of a head scratcher at the minute, I thought.
Yeah, I think he's getting a lot of volume, isn't he? I think again it's his first probably poor week he's had. The Cowboys do have their ups and downs. They've got a lot of different ways to beat you. Again, they played the Patriots, who didn't offer a lot of resistance. And
they're getting quite a head start on, and then he's off. Or
you've got to protect some of your better players sometimes as well, haven't you? You don't want to be absolutely caning them in games that you don't. There's a lot of injuries kicking around the NFL these days, and you've got to balance that between using your players when you need them and saving them for another day.
Yeah. Kieran Williams is looking like he could be one of the hottest waiver wire pickups of the season.
Him and Puka as well, eh? I know we haven't got Puka in this one, and we've probably got him in other leagues, but those two guys, week one, came out of the unknown, had those blinding games. People are fighting from on the waiver wire, and they've been worth every penny you've paid for them, haven't they? Because they've proved they're not 1 week wonders. They're actually leading the offense. Williams is the lead back, and I think Blandy was saying last week he was hardly got off the field. He's touching everything. He's getting some receptions. He's getting carries. They have him on a punt return. Poor bloke's going to be absolutely goosed by week 8. But he's an all-action hero at the moment, and he had a very good game, didn't he, this week against the Colts? A couple of touchdowns. And he's just putting numbers up, week in, week out. I think there's that one sort of down week is in week 3, but again, still not bad numbers on. He still had 10 carries and a couple of touches. So yeah, him and Puka are really the unknowns of the Rams offense, aren't they?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We'll get on to Puka a bit later, I think, but
yeah, I think I saw a bit of this game, and he looked very good. Karen Williams again, very elusive. They seem to be making some good holes for him, and he's certainly making either chunk plays or finding touchdowns each week. So there's not a lot of competition at the moment in that backfield for him. So you can't see any reason for it to change if he stays fit and healthy.
Yeah. DJ Moore had a week against your Broncos.
Well, if
look like one of the worst defenses.
If anybody's any teams need to get a bit of confidence in their offense or need to get some yards, the Broncos are the team to do it against, because we're absolutely trash and they're just giving up loads of points. However, did manage to come back and win, get the first W of the season for the Broncos. So it was, I think we said last week, it was a bit of a hopefully get right spot for people who've got Moore and or Justin Fields. But ultimately, you're not playing the Broncos every week. You're going to face a much tougher test. I think with the likes of DJ Moore, you're probably tied into him. You've probably bought him early.
Yeah.
Might not have many other options. You probably just have to keep playing him. His numbers are good this week. You'll probably still command the wide receiver 1, but I think you've just got to live with the ups and downs of some low weeks with hopefully some good weeks.
You rolling both out again tonight against the Commanders?
I'd be looking at what other options I had against Fields, just in general, not necessarily because I'm playing the Commanders, because I don't think he's not. End of last season or most of last season, he was getting all of those huge yards in games for all of that running work he was getting, and he was looking like an absolute fantasy stud. Even if he wasn't, the best player and the best team, he was just getting loads and loads of work. It's not going that way this season. Again, they're just deciding not to dial up designed runs for him, even though that's his strength. They're making him sit in the pocket and try and read down the field, and it's not his game, and therefore the offense isn't firing. I'd be looking for see what other options I can get for instead of Fields. Keep him on your bench. It might turn around again. Last season had a similar sort of thing, didn't he? The Bears started absolutely dreadful, and then found a way to use him in that run game, and it was peeling off, 50, 60-yard runs and touchdowns, and really, a fantasy monster. For whatever reason, have got away from that, but they might be forced to go back into it if they keep losing.
Yeah. Carl Purvis had a nightmare last week. He didn't even change his team, and
has words been had?
Yeah, he's got a yellow card. He's got a yellow card.
Okay.
But yeah, he's slipped to the bottom. There's quite a few on.
I had a bit of a look at the league table. After the week, it's always nice to have a look after you've won a game. So I thought, I guess we might be on a charge. There's nobody with an unbeaten record. There's only a couple with sort of 3 and 1,
Yeah.
and nobody without a win. So it's very tightly bunched in this league, isn't it? A lot to play for.
Yeah. Them 4 at the top are strong, aren't they? Paul Orp, AJ, Callum, Kev Ham.
It only takes an injury, though, doesn't it, or a loss of form for things to turn around. It's one of these leagues with short benches, and I don't think there's necessarily. I would guarantee all them 4 will finish the top 4.
Surprise, surprise! Mr. Hope's got CMC.
Yeah. I think he must have him on a retainer, does he?
Yeah, that was unbelievable last week. I thought I was gonna in the redraft league we do. I thought I was gonna win, and then CMC turns up and turns on its head.
He's destroying teams single-handedly, isn't he, at the moment?
48 points. Fuck my life.
I mean, he is so good, isn't he?
Unreal.
He's so good. He's so good as an NFL player, and he's so good for fantasy because of that dual threat and just the volume that he gets. And not only spoke at the start about stats and people getting touches, but what he does with it, he's absolutely dynamic.
Yeah.
So you want to just hope that you're playing. You don't have to play many 49ers players, or you catch them on a bye week. That's all you can hope for, I think.
Yeah, Purdy's not doing too bad. He seems to have like a solid floor, doesn't he? He's not doing like massive 20+ points a week and whatever else, but just seems to have a nice floor.
The offense is firing. They're well coached. They've got good game plans, and he just slots into his role within that quite nicely, doesn't he? Again, look at his numbers from last week: 21 attempts, 20 catches. Very high completion rate, very efficient. Yes, they're maybe not asking him to do too much, although I think he did make a nice throw down the field to Ayuk, didn't he? And I think I shared with you that Brian Baldinger did his little bit of analysis saying that actually. Purdy threw him open. He was in double coverage, and the throw was so good that it got him open. But yes, he's not going to do you a Mahomes or Josh Allen where he's going to get a 4 or 5 touchdown week and 300, 400 yards. But he's going to give you that nice steady Eddie, isn't he?
This is the big week, isn't it? Well,
it's a good test for him. Good test.
Biggest test he's had.
Yeah, Cowboys are again up and down team. There's obviously a big rivalry between the Cowboys and the 49ers. It's the Sunday night game of the week in the US, so I think that it'll be blockbuster, won't it?
Yeah,
and generally that Cowboys D, especially from a fantasy perspective, are they're getting a lot of points, aren't they? A lot of sacks, a lot of pressure, a lot of turnovers. So again, Purdy hasn't turned the ball over all season, I don't think. Who's going to come out on top of that matchup? Can they get him out of his comfort zone and sack him, strip him, force him into a throw that he's not comfortable making? That's going to really determine the game, isn't it, you would think?
Yeah. Yeah, so Mr. Hope's top of the league. Forget it back up.
Top of the shop. Just for a week. Just for a week.
Still got his full waiver intact.
There's no cashing out on that, though, is there?
No, you can't take it with you. Can't roll it over till next year.
You can't redeem it for sweets.
You cannot. Yeah, bloody hell. Mr. Production, 62 points. Cal, jeez. Get wept.
Yeah, who was the top scorer this week? Do they get the fanfare for the highest points?
Best manager was AJ. Set a lineup that was 99% of their perfect possible lineup.
Well, that's the best you can do. But who got highest score?
Highest score. Have a look.
Eddie
Hackett, 169.
Pretty good score, 169.
We'll give him a clap, eh?
I think he deserves it.
Let's see if we've got it in the free version, man.
We're not paying for any sound effects.
We don't.
We'll do a little. Yeah. There you go. Saved a few quid with that.
Yeah, Costy. Who needs to pay subscriptions? Look at our top right thing. It's like animated, go live. We haven't had no questions yet. I hope they can fire questions in, can they?
You haven't got the chat blocked or something, have we?
We don't need a paid service for that, do we? Should I check that?
You're the tech expert, aren't you? I'm merely the eye candy.
Shit, I best check, eh? Hang on. There's nothing we can do now, like, but I'll just be a quieter show.
You could always tweet us your questions, couldn't you?
Test.
on the
Test.
FFOP Twitter page.
Let's see how it comes through.
Testing. Yeah, it's come through.
There we go. We're on. We just
Rapid.
haven't got no viewers.
Yeah. Who knew, Ant, that Blandy was so popular?
I know, yeah.
We're like the hangers-on, hanging off Blandy like he's a Kardashian walking down LA High Street.
Yeah. Eagles Rams will do first. That was the potluck. Let's go for
Eagles Rams, eh?
Eagles Rams.
Well, that's a nice lead in from Puka and Kyron, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, lovely.
Perfect, seamless.
I'll ask you a question now.
Oh, there you go.
I've got. Let me take this off. I've got Puka, and I've also got Cooper Kupp in the same team. Now, reports are saying Cooper Kupp's coming back, possibly this week. So
yeah, there's been some good news on him, hasn't there?
Yeah. So in said team, I have Bijan Robinson and Latavius Murray as my running backs.
Okay.
So I have offered a trade Puka for Breece Hall.
Ooh, interesting.
Now
Very
the guy in question has been sat on it for about 4 hours now.
Oh, he must be deliberating, then, is he?
Deliberating, yeah. And the man in question's
is he a serial trader?
He's a serial trader, yes. But my thought process is, I've got Kupp.
I was going to say that honestly feels like a decent deal if I was on the other end of it. And it feels like a good deal for you because it's satisfying what you need. So I would be saying I would probably prefer Puka out of the two, but I think you prefer Breece given your running back situation. So it feels like a good deal.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Then replay the game. Saying it's a very good offer. I'm pretty covered in. Other than Jerry Jeudy, who's let me down a bit, Barry, which is
let me down as well. Yeah.
But I've got McLaurin, who seems to be going up, upward projections.
Yeah,
I've got
steady.
Cooper Kupp, obviously coming back. Hopefully, he can stay fit. Yeah, so I've got Puka and Cooper Kupp in the same team, and I've got no running back. So I've got one running back, Bijan. Yeah. I need another running back, really. So I'm going for Hall. I'm offering Puka for Hall.
Yeah. I think that's. It feels like a good deal all round. I think for me, if I'm starting afresh, I'd rather have Hall than Puka. But if you've got a team where you probably don't want to play both Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, then you're getting rid of probably the one because we know Kupp can come back and be that absolute target monster with Stafford and that good relationship. So again, the news is that his fitness is coming back and there's no longer term concerns.
Yeah.
Obviously, the other concern was how were the Rams going to do at the start of the season. They could be a candidate to be near the bottom, but they're putting up some really good performances on the back of those two players. So if Cooper Kupp can elevate to another level, I think that's going to work. You know, yes, I think once you.
And that's exactly why replay the game. Hall's coming off that snap count now. They're going to let him off, and hopefully
he looks very good, doesn't he, Hall? When he gets, he's had that injury last year, but it's not. He's still got that big game burst and that big playability.
Yeah,
they obviously feel confident that they've got the he's got the stamina now to see that up that workload.
Yeah, and again, you're right. Again, lovely matchup this week against the Broncos.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a game against the Broncos myself. I fancy myself for 50 yards and a couple of receptions.
I think that if Breece Hall wasn't playing against the Broncos this weekend,
he'd have done the deal.
It'd have been accepted already, yeah.
And it's a bit of a tricky matchup for the Rams, isn't it? The Eagles are a good team and a tough defense.
I prefer Hall just in this instant for my team because I'm short on running backs. I've got Puka and I've got Cup. It's just perfect scenario for my team. I think it makes sense to try and like offload Puka at. I'm running the risk of Cup not coming back though, or getting injured, and then I'm fucked.
I think there's risk on both sides, isn't it? I think there's upsides. Well, I think we know what Puka can be, but he's potentially to go down. And we know what Hall can be, but is he going to consistently get 20 touches a game?
Yeah.
Are the Jets competitive or good enough to get him those touches, or are they going to be chasing games because they're too far behind? So both players have got risk. Both players have got good upside. It feels like a good deal.
I think it's fair enough. I watched the Rams game on Game Pass on Sunday, and he is an absolute beast. He's like a bull, when he goes up for it, he comes down with it as well. He's unreal.
Yeah. They've absolutely stumbled across something there, haven't they?
Yeah.
All these first and second round wide receivers who have all the hype and then flash to deceive, and then somebody gets plucked out of nowhere. It was an absolute stud week one.
Yeah. Onto this game. Go on.
I was just going to say, what did you make of Anthony Richardson? I know I'm diving off on a different game. What did you make of Richardson against the Rams?
Let me pull him up.
Because he seemed to have a bit of a game of two halves, didn't he? The Colts started pretty slowly, but he certainly fired back in the second half of the game.
Pull him up. Is that Shorten? He just seems like perfect for fantasy, doesn't he? Really,
absolutely.
He scores those points, and that's all we're bothered about.
His rushing ability is superb, isn't he? The guy's a specimen, an athlete, but he just seems to have a decent brain for somebody who doesn't have a lot of stats at college level. So he seems to have transitioned quite well to the NFL. And
so was that only 200 yards, 45 attempts?
Something about him that I like.
Only 11 completions, and then but this Russian just pulls him out the shit, doesn't it? In terms of fantasy,
yeah. He's like what Fields was last year, but I think he's got a bit more longevity in him. From what I like the look of him.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back to the Eagles?
Eagles Rams, yeah. There we go. So Eagles favourite.
Yeah, could be a good little game. This both teams have got good records, haven't they? 4 and obviously the Eagles, Rams 2-2, but seem to be playing pretty well. Fancy this as a tight game. What was the spread there on the top? Was it +5?
Yeah, +5. Yeah.
I think I'd probably side with the Rams with the points, to be honest.
In terms of the Rams players, I think you're playing obviously Williams. You can roll out Higbee. Atwell, definitely.
Yeah.
Puka. I can't, even if Cup players, I can't imagine him doing much.
Yeah, it's always one of those. What have you? I always like to see and get a better feel for fitness of people after a long-term layoff. I wouldn't imagine they're going to roll him out on the field and get him to run up and down for no reason. But I don't think he's going to. I wouldn't expect him to go straight into the peak Cooper Cup week one.
Yeah.
So again, if you've got some options on your bench and you've obviously been managing without them, you might want to just see how he does for his first week back. If he actually comes back back to that, keeping an eye on the injury reports nearer the game time to see if you want him in or not. But
yeah, I think personally as a Cup owner, well, if this deal doesn't go through as a Cup owner, I don't think I'll be playing him. I think that they'll. And Blandy, you'd probably disagree if you was here. I think they'll put him in and just maybe like a cardio session, use him as a decoy. So the defense has something to think about, and then just get his cardio up and let him do routes, I guess.
Yeah, again, he probably won't play as high a stat percentage as he normally does. He's probably close to 100% normally, isn't he? He's probably in his 90s, but he might dip down into the 70s or something for his week 1 just to get that, oxygen back into his lungs and the running miles in his legs.
Yeah,
I think we had a decent game last week, didn't we? But he still is a bit of an up and down player, and I think that tight end is just if you haven't got one of the premium tight ends, they're all over the place in terms of good game one week, bad game the next. There's not even again in the same game. Dallas Goedert's one of the higher ranked tight ends at the start of the season. His usage hasn't been particularly good.
Yeah, we need to get on to God. We need to talk about Goddard. Obviously, we've got him in our team, haven't we? So
yeah, we're tied into him, I think, aren't we? There's no point in dropping him to chase somebody else at the moment, but we definitely want to see a bit more of him, don't we?
Yeah, I think this week he can play out well. Still, maybe if
Cup does play, are you again?
Yeah, I think I still play out well this week.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you still play 2-2 this week. Yeah, even if Cup plays, it's probably the last week you can play him, but he plays in the slot, doesn't he? So
yeah. Again, seeing what your options are, see what the injury report's looking like. But yeah, he's done you well so far this season, hasn't he? Or last few weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
On to the Eagles.
Yeah. Why don't we start with Goddard?
Yeah. Well,
let me bring him up on sleeper.
We could start with him. I don't know where we go with him. Like I say, if you've got him like we have in the FFLP league, you've probably drafted him mid rounds, but you haven't gone for any other tight ends, so you haven't got any options, and he's probably hard to cut given where you paid for him. And he's on the Eagles with 4-0 and pretty decent on offense, but he's just for whatever reason not getting the volume that he did in previous seasons.
No, just 4 targets last week.
They have obviously got that massive 1-2 punch, haven't they, with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith, and AJ had that little bit of a Teddy's at the pram moment the other week, didn't he, where he was played second fiddle and didn't like it, and they've obviously pandered to him a little bit, and he's 13 targets, 9 receptions, 175 yards and 2 touchdowns week this week. Certainly he'd be going back in the locker room shit smart after that game, but I don't know whether at some point they start to spread it around a bit more. I think we're just crossing our fingers, aren't we?
So you'd still roll him out this week?
Yeah, I think so. Your options are chasing some of these guys on the waivers or whatever who are probably good 1 week in 3 or 4, and we're trying to get lucky.
Yeah.
And I'm not up for that.
AJ Brown, you're rolling out. Devonta Smith, you're rolling out. Swifty, you're rolling out.
Yeah. Gainwell's certainly dropped down that pecking order, isn't he? I think whether it's by luck or circumstances that Gainwell started week 1 as the starter, but then was injured week 2. Swift had a monster game, and Swift is out snapping. I think we talked a bit last week that I thought in week 4 that it looked an even balance on the box score, but the reality was Swift was used up to Q3, and then they just give a bit of garbage time Q4 to Gainwell. Blandy had a mindset that he thought they were doing some sort of alternate quarters timeshare. So Swift was 1 and 3, Gainwell was 2 and 4. I don't know exactly from the quarters balance this week, but I think just look at the snaps. Swift massively outcarried him 14-4. And I think Gainwell had a fumble as well, which normally in a committee scenario gets you plenty of time with splinters in your ass, doesn't it?
Splinters in your ass, yeah. You've got Gainwell, haven't you, in one of your teams?
I have, yeah. I took that punt at the start of the season with that messy backfield and knowing who the starter was, that Gainwell would be the starter. And I think he was valuing like the 11th or 12th round.
Yeah.
So I haven't paid for him really all the odds. I got a good week 1 out of him.
Yeah.
Got injured, and then he's struggling to get back in. But in committees and in these backfields, it can all change. If Swift goes down, Gainwell's your number 1 again. So you've just got to rotate your bench around a little bit. Hopefully you've got other players because you've drafted this guy in 12. And you can just sit and wait for him to come back to the number 1 role if that happens.
Yeah, well, at least you haven't got Latavius Murray in your squad.
I mean, he's got a comeback, isn't he, Latavius?
So I had CEH, which I swapped him for, and then but I thought, well, rather than just getting like 4 or 5 points from CEH, why don't I just go and get the big dog in? I might get some duck eggs, but certain weeks I might get like 11, 12 points. You know what I mean? So I thought I'd just take a little bit of a punt with him because he's an absolute tank, isn't he?
There's some encouraging. I know he had a small catch. He peeled off a 29-yarder. I'm looking at the stats here. I thought it was a 25, a 29-yarder last week, and then got them to the red zone, the 5-yard line, and went off because I think he was a bit gassed, which is normally the other way around. Cook's doing all that peeling off the big runs, and they just bring the bruiser on a pound over the line. So he had a bit of a role reverse this week. But yeah, they do spread it a little bit between him, Cook, and Harris. I think at the start of the season we hoped or thought Harris might be one again a cheap pickup and might get some goal line work, but I think again he's just in the mix and he's not really that fantasy usable.
Yeah, that seems nice.
They seem to like.
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, they seem to like Murray. He seemed to just, again, obviously join the team this year. He seems to be ramping up a little bit in terms of some of his numbers. So, you know, he's even at 11, 9, and 7 points there. You know, bye weeks in deep leagues with lots of flex position. If you're needing to get a team out and players who are just going to be on the pitch at certain points, he's usable to that degree.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm not saying. I'm not telling anyone to go out and everyone go out and get him. But for me personally, I thought, well, there's going to be certain weeks where he gets a couple of touchdowns in a game because the way the game's gone, he's going to have.
Yeah,
I don't know whether it's 5 yards out. He's just going to pound it in, isn't he?
So they've struggled with the Bills, haven't they, over the last couple of years? For all of being a great team, great offense, lots of points, they've relied sometimes on Josh Allen putting his body on the line, and that's not really what you're doing with your absolute stud all-star quarterback, is it? Saying smash through these 5 blocks here, trying to chop you in half.
Yeah.
So I think they'll probably just use Murray a bit more in that role.
Well, one of the things for King Henry was possibly going to the Bills.
Oh, nice. Would have been nice, wouldn't it?
Replay the game. What you guys think of Dalton Kincaid usage ramping up? Worth a pickup?
For me, no. So again, I've had a little bit of a dig into some of his numbers because I think I had him in a couple of leagues again on the basis of sort of a bit of hype coming out of the draft. The talk was that Buffalo were going to use him as a slot tight end, basically another receiver, just a tight end body. But he's been very much in a timeshare with Dawson Knox. Even when they've played 2 tight ends, he's just getting little dump offs down the middle for a couple of yards. So they're not using him to run routes down the field. They go to Dawson Knox over him in the end zone. His touches are split. There's just not, on his current usage after 5 weeks, I'm not seeing anything that excites me to think he's going to go off any week. He's just going to continue to pick up, a couple of points here and there, a few more points if he gets a few more catches, but nothing. I don't see him scoring many touchdowns, running many deep routes and picking up some big bombs. So for me, he's a bit of a no. Again, Dawson Knox is the other side of the coin. Gets it in the red zone more often, but again, his usage isn't great, and Buffalo spread it around quite a lot, don't they? So they've actually now, because they're both on the scene, neither of them seem usable to me.
Thank you, Callum, for tuning in. Yeah, we're trying to cover the Rain Man, Blandy. We're using our crutch, which is the Sleeper app, but we'll try our best. Thank you for calling us the Dream Team. Appreciate that. Thoughts on the
checks in the post.
Checks in the post. Thoughts on the Broncos backfield. Can McLaughlin run away with it?
Well, we thought the Broncos backfield they're absolutely shite, but in terms of fantasy, this guy again, a bit of an unknown rookie, but seems to have had a few flashes early in this season. And last week with Javonte going down and actually they're playing the Bears, chasing the game, had to get back into it. He had a good game and he put some good numbers up. I was trying to do a little bit of digging on how long Devon's going to be out for, and I haven't seen it get much sort of clarity on it, which tells me it's not long term, but I don't think he's going to play this week because I think he hasn't practiced yet. So I think McLaughlin's, if you've picked him up or he's available, he's a bit of a sneaky pickup. But you've got the Jets. You've got the Jets. The Jets going a mile high, so it's not again the easiest of games for him. But I think he's probably got a good chance of handling the majority of the touches.
Yeah, I didn't even go for the. I didn't even put a waiver bid in for him.
No,
just didn't fancy it.
I wouldn't have bid a lot. I wouldn't have bid a lot for him, but I think again, if you've got him on the cheap, and you need a running back this week, you can play him. If you think, well, I've got some other options and I'll keep him a week, he looks like he's got some potential anyway. He's that when he's on the field and getting the ball, he's doing some good things. So you might see that ramp up.
I've only just twigged, right? And I don't know if you twigged before, Baz, but I've only just twigged.
I know. Yes, I know.
It's fucking Hammer.
The big K, Kev. The fact that you were talking about a trade with him, how did you not realise?
Because you know why? I can't see the K on my screen. I can't see the K. It's like covered over.
But you mentioned a trade that you were doing with the person, and then they were talking about the same trade from the other side.
You bastard!
You numpty.
And then, have you accepted the trade yet, or what? Stop fucking about. Have you accepted?
He was waiting to see what the podcast said, but I think now Blandy's not here. He probably hasn't got any. He's no better off.
Yeah, he should be on with us, shouldn't he?
Next week, replay the game. Can replay the podcast.
What game were we on? Who was that? Jags Bills, wasn't it?
Jags Bills, yeah, good. Could be an interesting game to watch. Again,
London.
London early game, so it gets an extra game in for us. Some were calling Josh Allen's performance last week one of the best of his career against the Dolphins. He seemed to be, that week one he was pretty poor against the Jets, but he seems to have bounced back pretty well against that, doesn't he?
I was going to, but knowledgeable guys on a podcast said stick with Hall. We didn't say stick with Hall. We said in my circumstance. If you're a Hall owner, and bear in mind he hasn't got any wide receivers. He's got.
He must be listening to a different podcast with some genuine quality pundits on.
Let me just have a look at his wide receivers first. Quickly. So he's got AJ Brown, fair enough. And then he's got Pickens.
Ouch.
Godwin.
Mm.
Garrett Wilson.
A good pickup, but not doing much for you in fantasy terms with Zach.
And then he's got Dotson.
He's got a lot of half options there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Puka's definitely an upgrade on them. I think I was saying that I'd rather be on the side of Puka.
Yeah, you did actually say you were on the side of Puka. I remember. Anyway, yeah, Jags Bills London game.
Yeah, back-to-back games for the Jags in London. Obviously, I was there last week against the Falcons, which was a pretty poor game, to be honest. Good to be there and enjoy a bit of live game, but yeah, it wasn't particularly exciting. Falcons didn't offer much, and the Jags didn't play particularly well. And they're a bit of a head scratch at the moment, the Jags, haven't they? They had that playoff run last season, that great comeback win against the Chargers. Trevor Lawrence stepping forward, Calvin Ridley coming back, keeping the same coaching staff, largely the same team. Everything's telling you step forward, and then they've been pretty meh. Yeah, so far.
Lawrence has been a bit disappointing, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he's not putting the numbers up. He's not making the plays. Whether that's him, whether it's the play calling. I think Blandy had said last week there was a bit of a change round, and they took some of the play calling off Peterson and give it to an offensive coordinator. It's not quite clicking for them, is it? But I still do like the talent. I still like the talent of Lawrence. I think Calvin Ridley will come good. Again, when we talk about fantasy, we talk about that wide receiver 2 at the Jags. Zay Jones had a very good fantasy year last year. It's week 1, put some good numbers up and put Christian Kirk into the shadows. Has since been injured, and Christian Kirk's now actually probably edging out Calvin Ridley. So again, he's a play, or has been a player for the last few weeks, in what looked like a wide receiver 3, commanding wide receiver 1 number. So if you've got him, you're probably doing pretty well for your value for the draft position and the points you're getting off him.
Yeah, one of the only men you can be confident in playing for the Jags at the minute is, funnily enough, Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram, yeah. Again, in that tight end merry-go-round at the moment, he's one of the better ones to have. So, yeah, absolutely fill your boots with him.
Yeah. Lads have been offered a trade Sam Howell for a
I think. I mean, who's offering you these trades? I mean, what sort of league is this?
Cowboy league, isn't it?
Yeah. Very, very strange one. That.
Steve, what's your opinion on this trade? Puka Nacua for Breece Hall. Let us know in the comments.
Which side we'd like to be on? So yeah, do we fancy the Jags to come back? I'm not sure this is the spot for them to come back, but I fancy them generally to come back in the second half of the season. And if you've got some Jags players, I'll probably stick with them.
There you go. Keep Nacua. Whoa. The trade's out there. The trade is out there. How come I can't? But there it is. Even Etienne, he's a bit meh. He's a bit.
Yeah, I think again, if you've got to be playing him this week, though, I think the Bills haven't looked particularly good against the run. I think again, Blandy would tell you what the metrics are. I'll just make it up. The metrics say that they're the metrics say they're sort of middle of the road. The Bills. It looks like to me that plenty of teams have run on them. So I think it's a spot for Travis Etienne to have a reasonable game. I mean, his numbers are not bad. He just hasn't, you want them consistent, maybe weeks in the 20s and consistent touchdowns, which he hasn't got.
On the Bills side?
Yeah, on the Bills side, again, obviously Stefon Diggs is your main man. You're playing him, whatever. I think James Cook, again, we sort of liked, but I'm a little bit worried about the other guys filtering in and just sort of filtering some of his touches off a little bit. Gabe Davis is one of these players where he's an ideal man for best ball because he's very spiky, some good weeks and some bad weeks. I think you've just got to live with it. If you've committed to him and you're putting him in a flex position or whatever, then I would say, yeah, he has a small number of touches, but he has some explosive ones. Huge bombs down the field that could be 60, 70-yard touchdowns.
He scored the last 3 weeks, hasn't he? So you have to.
Right.
I think if you've got him, you have to.
He's probably paid his way so far, so you stick with him, don't you?
You've got to stick with him, I think. Yeah, definitely. We've talked about Kincaid and Knox. Not really fussing them, are we?
No, I think again, I'll play the merry-go-round again this week and probably pick the wrong one, but I'll have a dart at somebody.
And like you say, unless the Puka and Breece Hall trade can get pushed through, I am playing Latavius Murray this week.
Right. Well, there's a reason not to push it through. I'd make you suffer, but. It's not the only trade in town, is it? So let's see what other trades are. Out there. If anyone keep hitting us up with them.
If anyone's watching in the redraft league on the NFL app, Puka Nacua is available for trade for a good running back, top level running back.
This is not a podcast for you to count your team at, by the way, and look for business and offers. Come on. Give the crowd what they want. Let's give some insight. Let's make some stats up and keep them happy.
Chiefs Vikings. Now this Chiefs team is just a bit of a head scratcher, as it is every year, I think. In terms of, can you really play any of the wide receivers?
I said early on that they're not for me. I just don't want to get involved. there's 32 teams, lots of wide receivers available. Do I want to get into this game of chasing who's going to get more yards out of Watson, Tony, Rice, and all of the other guys that they've got out there, Valdez, Scantling? It's just one week, then nothing for 3 weeks, then another one. Not yet. Just for me, just get out the game, go somewhere else.
Yeah. And then the running back situation as well.
Well, I think it was a bit of a breakthrough game for Pacheco, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pacheco had that, strongish finish to last season. We've talked about his style of running with his limbs going everywhere, and he's only got 2 yards, but he's had 55 arm throws. So he looks like he's given up loads of effort. I think, again, his metrics weren't amazing in terms of, yards after contact and all that sort of thing. But he's had 20 carries, 115 yards and a touchdown this week. So he's going to be the lead. He's better than CEH and McKinnon.
Yeah. I've sacked CEH off. I'm done with him. Never, ever having him in my teams ever again.
3 years is enough for you with him, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, mate. I still got him in my Dynasty one. Fucking useless. And then
Pacheco, I think Pacheco's a player. I think, again, if you've got Rashee Rice, you probably keep hold of him and keep him on your bench and just hope that he can establish himself. I think we did say after week 3 that we hoped that was maybe the point where, was it 7 targets for 5 catches, that he might start taking that step forward, but it didn't transpire that way against the Jets. But the Jets are a good D, aren't they? Strong defense, don't give them too much up.
Only 46% of the snaps last week, so
not ideal, is it?
I was hoping for a bit more.
I think Blandy always wants 70 plus, doesn't he? I mean, again, I don't think he played last week, but you've got Kadarius Toney in there as well, haven't you?
I've got rid of him as well.
So your tactic was just draft loads of Chiefs and then bid them off after 4 weeks?
Draft loads of Chiefs and hopefully one of them hits, and then it just seems like none of them have hit.
Okay, yeah. Don't listen to that pre-draft show with Anthony's Chiefs next year, right? That.
The Vikings. Addison's had a couple of iffy weeks, hasn't he? But
he has. But I think, again, you look at the routes run and the snap percentage and all the metrics you want to see for someone to have a breakout are coming. I mean, sometimes it's a good week to play. Sometimes it's good to play the Chiefs because you can get involved in shootout type games, or you're chasing the game from being able to score down. Was it a duck egg last week? Yeah. So he had, for a rookie, 16, 16, 11, 3 good games, and then not a jot last week. But they're a funny old team, the Vikings, aren't they?
Yeah.
They were winning all those games last year that we probably didn't deserve to win, but 1-score games were coming out, and then this year they seem to be losing them, getting the first win last week. I think he's wanted to be on the right side of the Addison. I think he's in that fight with Osborne, isn't he, to establish who's going to be the wide receiver 2 behind Jefferson.
Yeah,
which is quite a lucrative role on the Vikings because Jefferson's going to command a lot of attention off the defense. Cousins is going to stand there and chuck it a lot and take a lot of hits. He seems to be getting down the field, so I think I'm giving him a few more chances.
Yeah. Cheers for the question, Neil. Howell, Goff, or Burrow this weekend? I know mine.
I think I'm scratching Burrow off because it's just a fitness concern and they're not firing. I think Sam Howell, he's had some good games, some promise. I would have said Goff, but there's that news today, isn't it, about Amon-Ra St. Brown not practicing.
Yeah.
Which, again, if he doesn't, that means they'll probably lean too much on the run, and that's not great for him from his fantasy perspective. So you may be getting the answer is Sam Howell.
Yeah, I agree. Sam Howell, I'd go Sam Howell. One, because it's Thursday night and I want someone playing so I can get excited in the morning when I wake up. Yeah. And
go on. I was going to say, is 2 the fact you've got a similar beard and similar haircut? Are you having that? Is that a factor in there? Or
I didn't factor the hair in, no. 2, he's playing against the Bears.
Yeah, that's always a positive.
Yeah. And then the third one, he's like
Has he got a sneaky bit of rush upside, do you think?
Terry seems to be finding his feet. I think he's come back from an injury, and I don't know, just like that.
Well, he started the year, didn't he, with a bit of turf toe apparently,
Yeah,
which again
turf
I've never understood what turf toe is, because it's a sports injury they only get in one sport, which doesn't make any sense to me. But he seems to have gotten over that for a slow week one, and I think me and Blandy had that little discussion, didn't we, of who's going to be the main man there. Is it McLaurin? Is it Dotson? And I went for McLaurin, he went for Dotson, and obviously I'm right. So maybe that's why he doesn't want to come on a show anymore.
He talks the talk, doesn't he? But
yeah, he's getting out. If he's getting outgunned by nobody's like us, then he wants to wrap it in, doesn't he?
While we're talking about QBs and who we should play, I heard some talk on the group earlier on today that Cousins was a better option than the likes of Howell and Goff. I'm not sure I agree, but is that just because of the matchup against the Chiefs, maybe being a shootout?
I mean, I do like Kirk Cousins. He certainly stands in the pockets and throws it, doesn't he? He's got Jefferson, so Jefferson can turn an average throw into a house call. He didn't have a greatest of week last week, but if you look at his previous three, 17, 26, 28, 26, there's some good numbers there. He's in a couple of dynasty leagues I've got him, and he's always been, a decent performer for me. So I think if he's available on waivers, and again, you're back to this position where you might have drafted somebody as a QB who's not performing for you, I'd be looking to give Cousins a go. So yeah, if I'd had Fields, I'd be looking to maybe say I'll bench Fields for a couple of weeks and give Cousins a go. Not a bad option for me.
Yeah. 2 seconds. Let's get these. I'm using my my crutch of the Sleeper app.
Yeah, but it gives you Sleeper again. Whether it's us doing it or you're doing it at home, gives you some good stats, doesn't it? Quite easy to use, quite clear, obvious.
Thank you for the question, Callum. I much appreciated. Which two to start of Thomas, Atwell, London, or Reynolds as my flexes in my 14-team league, please? So who was scratching off first?
I was going to say, who do we like the most and who do we like the least? Well, I think, again, we're waiting a little bit on that Cooper Kupp news, aren't we? If Cooper Kupp plays, that's certainly a negative for Atwell. If Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't play, I think that's a big positive for Reynolds.
Yeah.
London's the tricky one because I think he's a talented player, but he's not got a very talented quarterback. And the Falcons don't really want to throw it to him, or just don't want to throw it. Yeah. They just want to run the ball, make it a slow game, run, and maybe toss him a couple of catches here and there. So I find him difficult to start.
You just can't trust it. You can't trust it, can you? You can't trust it.
Yeah. So, and put Thomas's stats on. I think Thomas is one of those where he's probably done all right.
Yeah,
If you look at maybe one of your flexes, he's doing okay. It's a tricky matchup away to New England. Again, they're normally spiky on defense, especially at home. I'm going to plumb out of those for Reynolds, and if Cooper Kupp doesn't play Atwell, if he does play Thomas.
I think you could still play Atwell if Cooper Kupp plays.
You can, but he's gonna eat in somewhat to him, isn't he?
I'm not sure. I'm sticking with this. They might let him play and just get some cardio in, and use him as a decoy.
Okay. So you going Atwell and Reynolds, or you going Atwell and?
Yeah, I'll go Atwell and Reynolds. So Atwell and Reynolds, go with that.
Okay, I'll go Thomas and Reynolds.
Oh. So Callum, you can either trust Barry, who knows a lot more than me.
I wouldn't say that.
So we're definitely playing Reynolds.
Yeah, I'd say he's done all right, and again, it's more the fact that Amon-Ra St. Brown's questionable.
Yeah. I'm not even saying that name. I don't know if it's Lafigja Webetterberg. Start Fields or Richardson? Richardson, yeah. Make COD great again. Wouldn't be that? Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? Would you trade away Bijan and Pickens for Lamb and A-Chain? 18 PPR. I'm 3-1. RBs have got Bijan, Saquon, bloody hell, Kyron, Hall, Pierce, and White. Wide receivers: Metcalf, Waddle, Pittman, and Flowers.
Well, again, looking at this squad there, it looks like he's heavily weighted to his running backs and not too much on his receivers. So therefore, getting CD Lamb, might be a wise move. I think Bijan's probably the best player of the four, but I think Pickens is the worst player of the four. So you're getting your 1 and 4 for your 2 and 3 in terms of how you're ranking those players. Chan, he's looking like he's going to be very useful, isn't he? He's rapid. He's come to the fore in the last couple of weeks. I know obviously they had a tricky matchup against the Bills, but he still had a very good game. Mostert, Wilson are his competition, who generally spend a lot of time on IR or in that treatment room or the blue tent. So I think there's a bit of upside to Achane. So I'd be tempted, given the balance of his team, to go for CD Lamb and Devon Achane.
I just think you've got Kieran Williams there. You've got Breece Hall, who should be a break. Hopefully, it should be a breakout week this week for Breece Hall. And then
Saquon's going to come back and do Barkley things, isn't he? So
yeah, Pierce shite.
He's all right. He's not fit the straps. I think he was good last season. Who is shite is Rashad White.
Yeah,
he shouldn't be seeing much time on the pitch for that team. But Bijan's great, isn't he? I know you've got him in a couple of leagues, and again, having watched the Falcons last week, he is their offense. The play calling seems to be, we don't know what to do. We can't create anything. We'll just give him the ball and hope he can beat a couple of men. And he's got that stutter step and that change of pace, and he can beat men, and he can get an extra 6 yards out of being swarmed on. So he's getting volume. I think he started off the season with Algier getting a bit more of a mix in the backfield instead of in just the pure rushes, and he was getting a bit more of the sort of the passing out the backfield. It now seems like he's getting the majority of both. So I think I would always be reluctant to trade him away. But if you're 3-1 and going for the win, maybe I think Lamb and Achane could be a bit of a.
I think so with the team setup that you've got there. I think because Waddle's a bit hit and missy at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it was not a great game for him, but again, it's a tough place to go, isn't it? To
maybe Lamb just gives you a bit more solidity.
Yeah, he's a clear wide receiver one on the Cowboys, isn't he? Yes, we've spoken about the Cowboys being a bit up and down, but he does command a lot of targets. He does get his target sharing, and again, he does turn that into good plays and touchdowns, doesn't he?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, mate. Keep them coming.
Another one from TSB World on there as well. Got that one on.
TSB World. Should I start Purdy or Fields? Great work. Keep it up. Appreciate it, mate. We're just turning up every week and chatting shit.
I was going to say, no one's going to give us a compliment. No one's going to give us a compliment, have they? No, we don't know what to do other than that's the second check we've had to put in the post this week. Then we'll have to get a new checkbook.
No one's keeping score on our tips, are they? So
no.
All right.
We don't get any repeat. The problem is we don't get any repeat customers, do we? We give all this advice and nobody comes back next week because they're probably fuming because the team got walloped.
Yeah. Should I start Purdy or Fields?
Where would you go on that one?
Fields.
Really?
Yeah, this week.
Okay.
Yeah, Fields. Purdy's all right, but he's just like a solid floor, isn't he?
He's probably going to give you. I would say Purdy's going to give you 21 points. Fields could give you.
I'm not sure Purdy will give you 21 points.
Fields could give you 28 or 8.
Yeah. Don't forget Purdy's against the Cowboys. This is the first decent test for him.
Okay. You'll go on Fields.
I'm sticking with Fields. Yeah, I'd roll Fields out tonight.
I think I'm just not. I'm not in on Fields. I'm not in on the Bears. Not in on the play calling.
Yeah.
If he was getting the run plays and the yards, I'd be in for Fields. But I'm just not there at the moment.
Yeah, but the thing is, don't forget it's a Thursday night game, so I like a bit of excitement on the Thursday night. If he's your only player tonight, I'd stick Fields in. And you can
For
watch.
me, the day of the game, the time of the game doesn't come into my decision making. But I appreciate that's different for everyone.
It's all about
maybe that's different for TSB world. He's maybe sat there thinking I'm going to watch the game tonight. I want a bit of an excitement out of it.
Yeah.
If I play Fields, that's gonna get me. I might have sink a couple more beers and enjoy it a bit more. That's what it's all about.
So you're going Purdy, I'm going Fields.
Yeah.
Replay the game. Kev Hammer, which one are you playing? Are you playing Purdy or Fields? You can have a decide and vote. Put your comment in the chat.
I think he's put a note on there to say Javonte back in practice. I think I'd read something different, but that might have been yesterday's practice report. So it's not as good news for the McLaughlin owners as we said earlier if he is going to come back. But again, he's coming off a big injury, isn't he? So
there's a deciding vote. Two for Fields. 2 for Fields, 1 for Purdy.
Come back next week, TSB. Let us know who got it right, won't
you? What game were we on there?
Who knows?
Oh, Vikings. We're on the Vikings. Keep the questions coming. We'll get them fired off before we go to bed. Yeah, so we said Addison we could play this week. What's the deal with Mattison? I haven't been keeping track because I've kind of sacked running off.
You haven't been keeping track. We made a big point of it on the podcast last week. We said that he would have a decent game this week, and that it was your chance to get your points on the board and get your trade offers out and get off the Mattison bandwagon. The start of the season was Dalvin's gone, Mattison's Dalvin Mark II. He'll get all the carries. He'll just get the same number of points. Easy as that. Bob's your uncle, off you go. And he hasn't been very good.
Yeah.
I think he again, if you put his sleeper stats up, he's had a decent week last week, hasn't he? I think, but I still think your long term is to sell high, and this could be the point.
Yeah, sell high at the very just sell while you still can.
Yeah, well, again, we predicted that this is a chance to get a good score. What was his numbers last week? 17 carries, 95 yards. That's if I don't know the players and I don't know, I'm just like, oh yeah, wide receiver. He's the running back one. He's got nearly 100 yards. Did he get much out? He got a catch as well? So he's got your 10 points. If he falls in the end zone, he's going to get me double digits. And I don't think you're going to get too many opportunities to sell him much higher.
And then Cam Akers' first game. I think I was half pissed when I just heard the name. Oh, yes, Cam Akers. I looked at the telly and he had a little shimmy and managed to get a few yards.
I didn't know he had a shimmy in his locker, to be honest. I thought he was a bit of a plow. Just there's somebody in front of me would have run straight into him and fall on the floor. I thought that was his game. I'm not a fan of Cam Akers. Never have been. Again, he got binned off twice at the Rams when they didn't have any other options. So it kind of tells me all I need to know about him.
Yeah. Question from Kieko. I hope I haven't butchered that pronunciation. Sorry if I have. Thank you for the question. 10-man non-PPR. Would you trade Keenan Allen for Cooper Kupp?
I probably wouldn't. Keenan Allen, with Mike Williams going down and the way that they've been using him, he's the main man, and he's getting his. Yes, I know some of the weeks he's got a lot of catches for not a lot of yards, which is not great in non PPR, but he's still a threat all over. He's still a red zone threat.
He's a beast.
His competition is a bit less with no Mike Williams, so I think I'd still keep Keenan Allen.
Yeah,
especially not. Yes, I think we think Cooper Kupp's coming back, but a bird in the hand and all that.
Yeah, there's still too much risk with Cooper Kupp. You've got Allen there. If Allen stays fit, He's just an absolute beast for that team.
Yeah.
Beast. And then you're taking too much risk on with Cooper Kupp coming back, especially for hamstring injuries. They always seem to, but there's always a chance to pull him again.
You've got your hamstring again, and you also got that sort of you're over-relying on the other muscles to compensate, and something you get a tweak in your calf or your quad or something. So you often see other little strains and niggles come.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is that Puka's doing so well. Even though
there's no rush to get him back, is there?
There's no real rush to get him back. Well, even though he might play, he might be on like a snap count or whatever. They've got no incentive to actually go and flog him to get out.
Yeah, they're not desperate, are they?
So no, I wouldn't do it personally. If Keenan hadn't had such a good start of the season, then fair enough.
It's a good question and a good trade, though, isn't it? You're looking at two sort of. You're looking at one of the top 5 receivers off the ball at draft against one of the top probably 5 so far this season. So it's an interesting one to. There's probably not a definitive right or wrong answer there, is there?
Just a bit too much risk, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Like you said, was it a bird in the hand, better than one in the bush?
2 in a bush, even though it's a 1-for-1. It probably the analogy doesn't probably work, but stick with what you've got rather than what the promise of what could be. I think is still more of the.
It is. I know it is tempting though because of the name, isn't it? And obviously what he's done previous seasons.
Yeah, and again, when he's on his A game, he's a monster, isn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I've just talked myself out of that Puka trade.
What? As in withdrawing it?
We'll see. What do you think happens when if Kupp does come back and starts firing on all cylinders again? Puka's still an option, isn't he?
Oh yeah, I think we've always said that Puka will still have a role. Obviously, his numbers will come down a bit, but I'll tell you what will happen if Cooper Kupp comes back. We won't get many questions about people trying to trade for him or offer him for trades, will there?
No.
If he comes back 1 week and gets his 12 receptions and a touchdown, he's going to be absolutely locked in.
Yeah. Is there any other games that you wanted to talk about? That was the 4 we shortlisted. Is there any more that you wanted to?
I mean, I want to have a quick mention on the Texans and Nico Collins. I think so. Again, he's a player I quite liked before the start of the season. He had a great start to the season. He had 1 down week, but I think he bounced back pretty well last week. I think, again, the Texans and Stroud in particular in that offense is quite interesting because I think, again, it wasn't particularly fancied before the start of the season yet. Yeah. Stroud's having a very good, start to his NFL career, isn't he?
Yeah. I think, he's still got Nico. I know everyone was buzzing around Tank Dell, and obviously it's a decent rookie.
Fire up the sleeper and look at Collins' numbers, because I think what happened was, again, you had the Texans who've been historically poor. You have a rookie quarterback, and then you have a load of wide receivers who no one jumps off the page as an alpha wide receiver 1. But Nico Collins had some good numbers last year, good performances with some bad quarterbacks. And then this season he's had that couple of good weeks to start. Then he had a sort of down week against Jacksonville where they seemed to spread it all over, but Tank Dell got the upside of that, and then they've gone back to him this week and he's had seven receptions, 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's their absolute wide receiver, top 10 overall numbers them. So again, you've probably got it. What's he wide receiver 7 on the sleeper app? Yeah. You probably got him in a late round, maybe 9, 10. So he's absolutely, outperforming his ADP massively, and there's no reason to go away from him. Look, he's got Atlanta, he's got the Saints. He's an absolute lock. If you've got him, you start him week in, week out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Texans are always a team that I never touch.
I think they've changed that. So I think that's the point I'm trying to make as well. Is last year there were, I can't remember who that terrible quarterback was that they had. It was again a little bit. He had a little bit of a flash of games, but Stroud looks very accomplished. again, quick. Like we said last week, quick on his reads, getting the ball out. They've got the guy from the Chiefs, haven't they? Eric Bieniemy,
Right.
involved at the Texans. So again, he's probably bringing that experience to him and helping Stroud with firing into lots of different options. But I think Stroud's definitely a guy you could start at quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'd start him over Fields.
Would you? Yeah. Fair enough. I said Pierce was shite earlier on. He's not shite. He just doesn't seem to be, in terms of fantasy, doesn't seem to be.
No, he's not. He's not had a lot of yards, has he? I mean, it's probably his best game last week was 81 yards, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'd have been if I had him, I'd have been trying to get rid of him that week.
Would you still get rid of him now if you had him?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Barry, question from Steve Wake. Thanks, Steve, for the message. Barry, which two do you think I should drop this week? Etienne, Swift, Moss, Collins, Hollywood, Atwell. And I think this is actually against you, Baz.
Yeah, I'm not sure which. If it's against me, drop them all. Drop them all and get yourself some Broncos in there.
You drop a Moss. You drop a Moss. Moss is fucked.
Pick up McLaughlin. Pick up Jerry Jeudy. Pick up Cortland Sutton and ride your Broncos. That's my advice.
You drop a Moss, aren't you? Looks like Taylor's going to play, doesn't it?
He's going to play. I mean, I think I said last week that for Moss, when Richardson comes back, that hurts him. I know Taylor's back in practice. If he's motivated to play in the team, we're going to get him in, and that's going to absolutely kill Moss.
Yeah, but he got interviewed. He got interviewed earlier on. It was earlier on today, I think. Said he's there, and if he wasn't there, he wouldn't be committed to the team. He's committed to the team, he said. So it sounds like he's going to play.
Well, that's a good attitude, I guess, or the sort of thing you want to hear if you're either a Colts fan or an owner of Taylor to try and get him in a team.
Yeah, regardless of that as well, they play the Titans, don't they?
Yeah, which is a tricky run defense and very much a pass funnel. So Richardson to Pittman, Richardson to Downs. Again, Downs is maybe a sneaky play this week. I think we tipped him up a bit last week, didn't we, to say that he seems to be establishing himself as wide receiver 2 on a not very deep wide receiver group there.
Yeah.
But to get back to Steve's question, I think the ones I'm dropping are Hollywood and Moss.
Okay.
If Taylor's back, if that's what if you're telling me that's the crack.
Yeah, it certainly sounds that way. And even if it certainly sounds that way anyway. But even if he was, I'd have a little think about it anyway. But so you think so? Hollywood and Atwell's the question for me. So you think
to drop? This is not to play. To drop.
To drop, yeah. Brown. Oh, wait a minute. Where's my state of playing on here? Oh, I don't know about dropping Hollywood, you know. Do you think Tutu Atwell does better? Let's have a look, Baz. Let's have a look.
Well, you tell me. You know what I mean? I'm only a co-host.
Well, Hollywood Brown's the number 1 receiver. There.
Mm-hmm.
Atwell, you've got Cup coming back, which you might be a little bit worried about. What's the matchup like? You got Philly.
Well, maybe again, it's down to who plays. So does Taylor play? Does Cooper Kupp play? But I think it's Moss. Maybe it's Moss and Atwell is the safe option.
I mean, they are all good lads. I'm 4-0 for a reason.
Yeah, I mean
4-0 CMC.
4-4 can be 4-0 can be soon turned into 4-4. We've seen that before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Especially if you've got too many choices to make and you keep making the wrong one. I'd hate that to happen to anyone. Let alone a regular listen to the show.
Travis isn't out of the question either, though.
No, I think I'm still sticking with him though. Like I said to you before, I think we don't know the exact stats because Blandy's not here, but I think the Bills you can get some joy off on the ground off them. So I'm sticking with ETN. And we're also saying that we do fancy the Jags to come back. Maybe it's this week or not, but I'm sort of sticking with ETN till I get that win.
Because he's got CMC as the other running back, so he could go CMC, Moss as his running backs. CMC and Swift as his running backs, and then Collins, Hollywood, and Atwell, and drop Etienne and Moss.
Yeah, I think Swift and Etienne are in that same sort of bracket, aren't they? Where you can have some good weeks and have some mediocre weeks, and you've got to catch them on the way. And maybe if he allegedly he's 4-0, he's obviously got lucky a few times. So fair play to the lad.
Yeah, I just said Steve. Yeah, Etienne's especially against the Bills as well. I don't know. I'm not sure if I fancy it. Etienne and Moss drop, and then go for the big score from Atwell. That's what I'm going with. What are you going with, Baz?
I'm saying drop CMC and no, I'm saying drop Moss and Atwell. I did say Hollywood at first, but I'll probably change my mind on that. Moss and Atwell.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Any other games that you'd like to talk about, Baz, before we call it a day?
No, nothing really jumped off the page to me.
Any more questions from anyone? Fire it in now because we're going to go to bed.
What games are you watching this week? Anything that jumped off just from a viewing standpoint?
Let me fire the Game Pass up to see which one's on. Which one's the Sky game? Do you know?
I haven't checked, mate. I think no, I don't know. No idea.
I normally have Red Zone on, and then I'll have one of the games on the desktop.
Jags Bill, keep an eye on that at sort of 2:30.
Yeah, I watch that. Yeah, I watched the Jags Bills. Watch that, and then I'm not sure.
I don't think there's a great standout game. I think Chiefs Vikings is a Sky game.
Right. Okay.
That's the 9 late slate game on the early slate.
There's a few meh games, isn't there?
It might be the Giants Dolphins again. Dolphins are worth watching, aren't they? Quite explosive.
Yeah.
Good job.
Saints Patriots. I want nothing to do with that one. Fuck that.
Good cure for insomnia.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
No, but if that's it,
that's it.
Shades not on.
We'll wait for the crowd to be demanding Blandy comes back next week, and we'll see what we can do, eh?
Yeah, hopefully Steve Wick can join us next week, or the replay the game. Kevin Hammer can.
Yeah, well, I think we're a man light, so if anybody's got any aspirations to have a go, then hit us up on the Twitter, eh? We're open for anyone to join us hit us up on the Twitter FFLP, and we'll get you on next week.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the questions. Thank you all for the comments. Thank you all for the love. Please like, share, subscribe. Have a nice night. Sleep tight.